Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome an individual whose name and reputation is well known in West Michigan, and he's a friend to Holland Home, Mr. Tom Rademacher.
Thank you. I'm listed as your special guest, but my wife is willing to meet anybody afterwards and contest that if you want to go to that meeting. Good evening and welcome to a night that I trust will both encourage and inspire you to help us celebrate the living, breathing entity that is Holland Home. I promise to keep my remarks short. Yay! After all, this is not a time for sermons, but it is a time for sharing. And in order to do so, I'd like to have you visit the kitchen that my wife Holly and I keep. It's where we raised and fed and otherwise catered to our three boys and had arguments over who got the last fish stick. But on the east wall of that kitchen hangs a little sign, and it says, "Home is where your story begins." That's significant to me because I've made a living some 40 years telling people stories. And I've been mulling the meaning behind those 6 simple words a lot more recently, especially in the days leading up to tonight. And in examining those words, I considered the flip side of them, that sometimes your story doesn't conclude in your home. It plays out in a place where you least suspected. Maybe it's a place of your choosing, or maybe it's a place deemed safer for you by people who love you. But it isn't quite home, just another place on your continuum of time. There may not be room for all your photographs, family albums, and the touchstones that defined the time you spent here on earth. Holland Home, however, is different. It's not just a place. It's named Holland Home for a reason. Because as a true home, it respects and dignifies where you've been and what you deserve to be and continue to become as you make your way beneath one of their roofs. Home, after all, should be a place of comfort, where souls gather, an abiding place of affections, with plenty of room for those photos and scrapbooks and touchstones. And arguably more than any other retirement community in West Michigan, Holland Home gets it right, like it should be. For David Bloom's family, Holland Home has been a cycle of life. Many generations of Blooms have called or call Holland Home their home. David summarizes it like this: you begin as a family unit, children grow up and go their separate ways. As parents age, they go to Holland Home. The kids see how great it is, and they go to Holland Home as well and come back together. Family connections occur, and lives are enhanced. And all of this is possible because Holland Home is grounded in faith and service. Allow me to share something with you. It's the root word for family. Well, guess what? It traces its way back to a word, servant. And what better word to describe the culture and the people who work and represent Holland Home than servant? It's with a servant's heart they gather each day, working in continuous shifts that never stop to bring comfort to its residents, to its extended family. Their secret sauce? It's love. It's empathy. It's going the extra mile to imagine themselves in your shoes and extolling the golden rule so that with each stretch of their hands into yours and with each moment they take to look into your eyes, they're gazing into what is nothing less than the image and likeness of God. Holland Home has never wavered from this mission to embrace all its residents as family. They've been doing so since 1892, a year when Benjamin Harrison was president. Ellis Island just began accepting immigrants, and a 4-room house cost about $800 to build. If you want proof of Holland Home's culture and commitment to excellence and a desire to maintain that culture positioned around family, you can visit virtually any floor on any building and find a story that says so. I mentioned family album a moment ago. Well, tonight, we honor the Holland Home Family Album and highlight just a few of the hundreds of our families. In its pages, you'll find Marilyn Van Hassel and Lorraine Warlick, sisters who have followed many family members and call Holland home their home. Their parents, Cora and John Vandenbout, moved to Holland home when they were in their 80s. John, one of 14 children. Prior to Lorraine and Marilyn making Holland home their home, 2 aunts lived at Raybrook Manor, and 3 cousins lived on the Raybrook and Breton campuses. Aunt Kate Stoughton lived until the age of 109, and Aunt Mina Wieringa until 103. The reason for all that longevity? Marilyn will eagerly tell you that it's tied to Holland home and the great care her relatives received, how they were treated like family, that they were able to live out their days with loving, compassionate care. Marilyn and Lorraine, who's 92, are thrilled to live on the same campus, seeing each other frequently. I kind of call that all in the family. Residents are not the only folks who have multiple family members at Holland home. Take Dee Marie Strain. 7 members of her family have worked or currently work at Holland home. Dee Marie's career has spanned 40 years, 2 decades of service to Holland home. While working at Fulton Manor, Dee Marie met and married Ed Strain, who was Fulton's chef. They enjoyed a wonderful life together until he passed away this year under Faith Hospice care. Dee Marie's daughter, Sean, and granddaughter, Lataviana, are both nurses. Son Terry and daughter Anya volunteered at Fulton for 3.5 years. Stepdaughter Tammy works in memory care at Raybrook, and Sean will be celebrating 20 years soon, working as a Faith Hospice nurse. Dee Marie shares that she has so valued her career at Holland home and feels blessed to work there, enough so that she encouraged and entrusts her children and grandchildren in the care of Holland home and Faith Hospice as career choices. Love is always in the air at Holland home, or could it be in the food? 17-year employee chef Dan Stinson met his wife Ashley while working at Fulton, and Dan is now in food service at Trillium Woods. Dylan and Hannah Schneider both worked at Fulton Manor and were married in 2018. Dylan is a cook at Breton Rehab, and Hannah works for Faith Hospice. Let's leaf through our family album to show you some more resident and employee families who call Holland home their home or work home. You know what, if you saw someone up that you love and are proud of, because tonight we celebrate them all, no matter how long you've been part of our family. Because the moment you cross our threshold, you're in. You're one of us, your family. And for families especially, promises are important. They keep a family together through thick and thin. And Holland Home's promise is that they will never abandon or turn out a resident. Believe it or not, and I find this stunning, they provide upwards of $5 million annually to residents so that if a resident's funds go dry, this fund will make up the difference. Other places have similar funds, but few match this one in breadth and depth. Now tonight you may be enjoying your time here with a patron at no expense. I know that my ticket and my wife's ticket were bought for us, but Holly and I are making out a check to cover that. It's the least we can do, and maybe a little more. And I'm humbly urging you to consider doing the same if you're able. And if you're in a sweet spot in life right now, you know what, you can add a zero to that amount, no problem. I mean, no one's going to complain about that. Or even a couple zeros if you're in an especially sweet spot. Because every penny goes to that benevolent fund for people who deserve to enjoy the remainder of their days at Holland Home. So I'm asking, let's put a little wind at the back of a place that keeps its promises. So there's an envelope on your table. Feel free to make a gift right now, or take it home and attach it to that steamer trunk you have filled with silver and gold and you don't know what you're going to do with it. And you've been saving it forever, and just turn it into Holland Home next week. I just got a truck, so if you need someone to transport it, I'm glad to show up at your home. But seriously, how can you say no to a place like Holland Home that's always whispering yes? Yes, we will take you. Yes, we will care for you. And yes, we will keep you in our home all the days of your lives. Home is where your story begins. Tonight, let's help Holland Home's story continue. Thank you, and God bless you.
Thank you, Tom, and special thanks to all of those employees and residents who provided photos for our Holland Home family album tonight. And tonight we welcome Jenny Oakes Baker and Family 4. Jenny is a Grammy-nominated and Billboard #1 performer and recording artist. She received her Master of Music degree from the famed Juilliard School in New York City. Jenny Oakes Baker and Family 4 have performed in some of the most prestigious concert venues and with symphonies worldwide, and have just released their debut album. Let's give a warm West Michigan welcome.